Hello and welcome to episode number 16 of SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess, and I'm here to give you my 3 favorite Underdog fantasy plays for Monday, June 24th, 2024. Let's start out by giving you the promo code for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code DAILYDOG, DAILYDOG, at underdogfantasy.com or the Underdog Fantasy app for an up to $250 deposit match bonus. That is a good way to get your Underdog account started off right with extra free money to make plays with. So let's start with looking back at last week. On Friday, I was jacked because we were getting a winner to go to the weekend. We got Sergei Bobrovsky allowing higher than half of a goal in the first period. We got Trey Turner over 1.5 total bases. He had a home run and more. That was too easy, but the night did not end well. Our final play was Patrick Sandoval of the Angels to allow higher than 5.5 hits against the Dodgers. He had allowed 2 hits, and it was the top of the third inning. He threw a ball to Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani walked, and Sandoval was wincing in pain in his left arm, his throwing arm, and came out of the game. So he was not in the game long enough to allow enough hits for us to win our slip. Quite unfortunate, but those are just how things go in baseball. People get hurt, weather delays, all sorts of crap happens, and it ruins your slip. But you got to just appreciate the process, get back in the lab, keep making more plays, and keep being confident in your plays, and keep refining your process. So again, it stinks that we were on our way to a winner there. I was very confident that Sandoval would continue to allow base runners to reach on hits, but his arm gave out, so he didn't get that opportunity. That said, it's a new week, it's a new day, and it is time to get back to our winning ways. We are going to go back to the well with Bobrovsky to allow higher than half of a goal in the first period in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. It's the finals. I think it's final for a Stanley Cup and NBA Finals. Yeah, it's always a little tricky with that. So, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. I know that it's Game 7. Everyone's going to be tight. Nobody, they're going to be playing defense more than offense in this game. Nobody wants to blow their chance to win the cup. Guess what? The Oilers have been in elimination games for 3 games straight, and they've scored a goal in the first period in 3 games straight. They're not going to be tightened up here. They're already playing with house money. They should have been eliminated a long time ago, if you ask most pundits. Why are they going to change their strategy? Why are they going to go conservative first period? Why are they not going to use their offensive prowess early in this game when that's literally the only thing that has turned this series on its head? Them being aggressive, them getting after Bob early, and them putting pucks on net. So I'm very confident that the Oilers are going to continue doing what they're doing. Just think about it logically, right? I mean, I'm sure on Twitter and on podcasts and sports talk, everyone's going to be talking about, tight Game 7. It might be a tight Game 7. It really could. It could be a 2-0, 1-0 final score. But if it is, again, why would the Oilers change the way they're playing early in games after it's been working so well in the last 3? It's not like they're like, it's a Game 7, so we got to batten down the hatches when they've been winning by outscoring and using their offensive powers to get ahead of these Florida Panthers. So I'm really, I guess it's going to be probably a contradictory opinion, but I'm very confident that Bob will allow another goal in the first period. I mean, again, it's not the same guy that it was the first 3 games of the series. It really isn't. A corner has been turned, momentum has shifted, and the Oilers are getting the lamp lit early in games. And also, just on that note, just think about what this number was. It was like 0.65x in Game 6 in Edmonton. Obviously, that's on the road. Obviously, the Oilers are going to be flying at home, all that good stuff. But this is a standard 1x multiplier in your slip. That 35-cent change, that 35, I don't even know how you would quantify it, but that change of 0.65x to 1x is like incredible value. Because, again, this Oilers team has proven they can score in the first period in Florida. They did before they went back to Edmonton. So, again, the first play is Bobrovsky, higher than half a goal allowed in the first period in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. This next play is disgusting to say out loud. It's kind of hard to say out loud. It feels like I'm, it feels like I'm committing a sacrilege here. But I'm taking Patrick Corbin lower than 6.5 hits allowed against the Padres. Yeah, Patrick Corbin, the guy that you'll see Patrick Corbin Day all over Twitter, despite him putting together some good starts this season. And The Nationals finding ways to lose despite Patrick Corbin being all right off the mound. So why am I taking Patrick Corbin to allow lower than 6.5 hits in this game versus the San Diego Padres? Well, let's just look at that 6.5 hits number, first of all. He started 15 games this season. He's allowed higher than 6.5 hits 8 times. That's over 50%. But guess what? His first 4 starts of the year, he allowed higher than that in all of them. In his last 5 starts, he's allowed only higher than 6.5 hits once. That was against the Mets, which is a team that is about 32 points better in average than the Padres against lefties. Yeah, I talked about it a lot last week because we were targeting this Brewers and Padres series for a couple different reasons. But the Padres are really good against righties, and they're really bad against lefties. They are bottom third of the league in average and BABIP versus lefties. Fernando Tatis obviously banged up, has missed a couple of games. He's allegedly going to be back on Monday night, but who knows? I mean, I remember when Seager was going to be back, and then he wasn't. It's just this point in the season, I don't know if they're going to rush Tatis back. He was hit by a pitch, and it hurt his arm, so they said maybe he could DH, maybe he could pinch hit. I don't know. Maybe Tatis starts the game. Maybe he comes out early. There's a lot of things that can happen here, but also I'm just assuming that Tatis is in the lineup. If he's out of it, that's another bonus because obviously he's a great hitter. It takes a lot of pressure off the pitcher if he's not batting second in the order. But again, Patrick Corbin, last 2 starts. The most recent one, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits. Before that, 5.1 innings pitched, 4 hits. Do you know what I love about those starts? They're only 5 innings. He's not a guy that they're going to try to, go ego mode, alpha mode, and make him go 8 innings, and then he gives up 3 singles in the top of the 8th, or in the bottom of the 8th, I mean. He's going to be out of there in 6 innings no matter what, and more likely less than that. He's had plenty of games this year where he just goes a flat 5. And as I said, he has given up more than 6.5 hits 8 times this year, but 4 of those were the first 4 starts of the year. He's obviously turned a corner. He's playing much better. And again, I said it, I'll say it again to reiterate it. He's only allowed 7 or more hits in one of his last 5 starts. And he's playing against a team that is very, very mediocre, and that is rounding up to call the Padres mediocre versus lefties. They just don't hit well. Obviously, they have Luis Arraez in their lineup, so that's basically 1 hit versus starting pitcher at least. You bake that in there. But there's a lot of guys that strike out. There's a lot of guys that ground out. I like this play. I hate to say it because, again, everyone knows Patrick Corbin is definitely not at the height of his powers anymore. But in this matchup, a guy who's actually in good form lately, has had good results lately, and has not let people get a lot of hits lately versus a team that's this mediocre at best against lefties. I just think that this is a misaligned number. It's a 0.9x multiplier right now. I could see this being a flat 6 or even a 5.5 if something crazy happens with the lineup by the time the first pitch is thrown. So I'm adding this to my slip with Bobrovsky higher than half of a goal allowed in the first period. Last play, you know me. I don't know what my issue is. I've got a soft spot for these guys on the Oakland Athletics. Their city doesn't care about them. Their ownership doesn't care about them. They're really not that good, but they do have some good pieces, actually. They have some good players, and I'm highlighting one of them here. Tyler Soderstrom, a 22-year-old first baseman for these Oakland Athletics. I'm taking him to have higher than half of a total base for Griffin Canning and the Angels. So Soderstrom's batting .243 on the year, nothing crazy, but in June, he's batting .301, and he's got at least 1 hit in 7 of his last 10 games. He's probably going to be batting 5th in the lineup right after Brent Rooker. So obviously that's, facing Rooker is not easy. It's not like it's following Shohei Ohtani or something, but Brent Rooker is a dangerous hitter for the context of this Athletics lineup. And I just think that Griffin Canning is again, I'll use the word mediocre, and that's being nice. He's a mediocre pitcher, but he's obviously probably not quite mediocre in the grand scheme of the entire MLB starting pitching and most good teams' rotation. In the last 5 starts, Canning's allowed 8 hits, 4 hits, 7 hits, 4 hits, and 9 hits. So you can definitely get knocks on this guy. His batting average against left-handed hitters, and he's a righty, and Soderstrom's a left-handed hitter, is .291. That's really bad for a starting pitcher to be allowing almost 30% of batters to get a hit. Oh, man, we almost made it through the show without the Daily Dog cat getting involved in the action. I'm going to try to get him out of here. So we're on Tyler Soderstrom. Daily Dog cat is out of the way. So last 5 starts, I talked about how he's given up a lot of hits in at least 3 of those. He's got a really bad batting average against left-handed batters, or he allows a high batting average against left-handed batters. And Soderstrom is batting 300 in the month of June. I love adding this as the final play in this slip. Higher than 0.5 total bases for Tyler Soderstrom. He just needs to get one knock in this game. And even if he doesn't get it versus Canning, there's always a chance that somebody will come out of this Angels bullpen and, just let's say, I'm trying to keep it clean. Let's say somebody else comes out of this bullpen and they're not going to have the performance they did on Friday night when Sandoval came out of the game. That's for sure. So the three plays are Sergei Bobrovsky, higher than half of a goal allowed in the first period in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. We're going to go with Patrick Corbin, hold your nose, lower than 6.5 hits allowed against the Padres. And then the third, Tyler Soderstrom, young star in the making for the Oakland Athletics, higher than half of a total base against the Angels and starting pitcher Griffin Canning. And you know what? Just watch Soderstrom. Maybe you'll like him, and maybe he's on your team before the trade deadline. Who knows what this A's ownership is going to do with the valuable pieces on this roster. Obviously, they don't really care about investing in the future in that city or really anywhere. So, just keep your eyes out for this one. Let's get this Monday play home, and let's start this week off with a win. Thank you all for tuning in. I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. I am floored by the amount of support I've gotten on this show already, again, hundreds of daily downloads across all the podcast sites, which, again, I did not expect it to be doing this well, maybe ever, especially not in the first month of the show. So thank you again for tuning in. Like, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. And just for posterity's sake, I'll list the plays one final time before we play the music. That is Tyler Soderstrom, higher than half of a total base against the Angels. Patrick Corbin, under 6.5 hits allowed against the Padres. And Sergei Bobrovsky, higher than half of a goal allowed in the first period of the Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. That is it for me. Now let's make some money.